little late, but we starting one time. And it's Monday. Hi Jonathan, hi Christopher, hi Emily, hi Miss Angela. Thank you all for always coming to stay and hang with me. This bacchanal, this woman who love royal confusion and bacchanal. Thank you for always coming and stay and hang out with me. Hi Carol, and all those who are locked on. Well, they come on today because I'll be very, very diplomatic. I certainly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of my God and my country. I'll honor my parents, my teachers, my leaders, my elders, and those in authority. I'll be clean and honest in all my thoughts, my words, and my deeds, and I'll strive in everything I do to work together with my fellow men of every creed and race for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of my country. Hi Gloria, hi Sarah, hi Bernadette. One thing I could tell you all, and I could say this without any fear of contradiction. They could say what they want about me, that's quite okay. They can't say I was lie, and they can't say I was thief. They could say whatever they want about me. That's quite okay, because I'm just saying on social media, you expect people to say this and all kind of thing. But one thing they cannot say is that I was lie and I was thief. If they want to say I like confusion and bacchanal, who are bacchanal and who are make confusion, where they could come out and say, what is the confusion I make, and we go have a conversation. So let me start. I'm saying that, give me a minute, Let's have 1 minute. I am saying that, right, congratulations again to our senior men's football team and that fantastic victory. I think it was Friday night, 6-2, I think it was. Congratulations, congratulations, and we support you. Well, let me say we, let me stop talking for people, Papa. I support the team 100%. So this is what try to Darian show drop some. Papa, wait till he drop Val. Tell the bacchanal woman, tell the confusion is what about me drop now, God. Tell me now. Tell me let me get in on the bacchanal. So Dwight York, who is the coach of course of the men's football team, this is what he would have said. Yeah, he said that, and he will know what he's talking about, because he's the coach. This was in the Guardian 2 days ago. He said we need to be more ruthless. That's what York saying, And let me just read a little piece. You know I support him 150. A concern that has affected TNT football for many years threatened to rear its ugly head on Friday night in the World Cup qualifier against St. Kitts and Nevis at the Hazy Crawford Stadium in Mucurapo, Port of Spain, before an almost packed crowd of 20,000 spectators, some 20,000 spectators, and people. The government would have refurbished down there. I hear it looking good. Mr. Young is a good shot. I hear it looking nice. And my member of parliament was down there, Stuart Young. You know, does get problems when they say support him, right? Because I mean, I'm not black conscious. I only had to support people who black like me, and I would be black conscious. National Coach Mightier said the issue of being a reactive team rather than a proactive was one One was evident Friday, despite getting a start that the Soca Warriors should have used to propel them forward with 4 points from 2 matches, which left the TNT team in a second position on Group B. The Warriors needed to win for a solid chance to progress as one of 2 teams, and they did. Sparkat Moscow instrumental midfielder Levi Garcia latched onto a right side centre and fired home for a 1-0 TNT advance in the 9th minute. However, Garcia later turned villain when goalkeeper Giuliani Archibald kept him out from the penalty spot on a chance that TNT should have added to the advantage. York told the media at a post-match press conference that they call them press conference pressers now, everything her name, that even when the TNT team got to an early start in the past, they would go into reserve mode. It's something we always talk about, and I think it's been a curse for TNT for several years. We got carry them down in the beach, bathe them in some blue soap and some lime and thing, take a cocoa broom and spin them down, hit them, and come out. That go done. I just say. So he said that he said something we always talk about, and we think it has been a curse for TNT for several years. I always say we are a reactive team and not a proactive one, and we always encourage the opposition. We always give them a start and then chase them down. Even if we get off to a really good positive start, we need to kick hard and go to another level, but somehow we tend to go back into reserve and give them encouragement. So that's basically what you're talking about, that we need to be a little more ruthless. Don't give up. When you're going and stay in, don't ease up. No matter if you have up in front 10 point, whatever, don't ease up. Right? That's what you're talking about. And I like that in football. We're friends after the game, you know. But you see why the game going on? Country is for country, right? So, let me continue. I'm seeing that Tanku, that's our finance minister, Dave Tanku, he is saying, abuse up his bonnet. He says that the honor system for forex distribution promoted by the last government has not worked to the benefit of the economy or to small, medium-sized enterprises. That's what he's saying. So, if you want to tell everybody who have forex, who does get forex and all that. So, that's the mafia. That is what they vote for. I see also former Minister of Finance, Embert, he would have said 2 days ago also, he slammed the PM, that is Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, about Caribbean Airline, because you know she come out and said that there was lying on Lieutenant and Caribbean Airline had no money, something to that effect. So Embert is saying, he rubbished Prime Minister Kamala Prasad-Bissessar claimed that state-owned Caribbean Airline Carl lied about its profitability under Dr. Keith Christopher Roddy-led administration. When the UNC is in power, the media publishes any unsubstantiated nonsense, they say, he said in a post on Facebook on June 7. Case in point, Kamala false allegation that Carl lied about the profitability under the PNN. Embert said Carl, in reporting on his financial status, always referred to his operating profit, which should no excludes debt service. At a post-cabinet media briefing on June 5th, Prasad-Bissessar said Carl was experiencing a lot of financial problems. So she claimed that Carl had taken a $260 million loan that had rolled over year after year. Prasad-Bissessar said cabinet had to agree to roll over the loan again. Not a cent had been paid back on the loan. Carl is in red, but every time they speak, they're talking about the gains they're making, how much profit they're making. None of that is true. These boards have to go, she said. How many years they did not file financial accounts? They didn't even know when it was true financial account. We have failed to file audit statement. Prasad-Bissessar also claimed Carl sent the government about 20 pages of things, and that the airline said you must pay this now or Carl will go into blacklist. The airline will collapse, it will fall. She said one of the items, remembering off the top of her head, ooh, that was great, she remembered, was uniforms, and there were many other things like that. So it was zombie and the government. If you do not pay the money, it is zillions. Oh, that's someone childish. So it's zillions we are talking about, the airline will collapse. She said the government had to go through documents to see which ones are absolutely essential. former Colombo say she talking rubbish. I'm inclined to kind of believe him that she talking rubbish, especially when she's zillion and zillion talk. I'm also seeing where MP Stuart Young would have said, let me find it, where he said,
Dr. Oni, this is not goodbye, but...
No, not this, not this, not this. Not that at all. That will come later. Give me a minute, I will find it, it will come to me now. Earlier we had some things to bacchanal and confusion. I'll comment it. Hi Joycelyn, hi Dr. Lloyd Straker. So this was 1 day ago on MP Stuart Young page. He said it has been 5 weeks now since a new cabinet was sworn into govern Trinidad and Tobago, including the appointment of a new Minister of Energy and Energy Industries, Julian Munilan. Yesterday was the first day that the Minister Munilan seemed to have found his comfort zone on something, and ironically it was to issue a statement about a call decision on freedom of information request of the Ministry of Energy. One could not help but smile at the irony of Munilan only being comfortable to comment when it comes to a matter in court, a place with which he is personally well familiar. From what I have read in the newspapers, a High Court judge ruled that the Ministry of Energy and Energy Industries should provide a copy of its investigative report into a tragic and fatal accident that took place at Nikon plant. The Ministry of Energy at all times guided and advised on this matter by independent state attorneys and by senior counsel. What the newspaper report, and of course Munilan failed to indicate, is that Nikon, an entity that should be affected by the release of the report, refused to consent to the report being released, and accordingly this could have exposed the Ministry of Energy and arguably its staff members to liability should the report have been released. If the High Court has now ordered that the report be provided, then that's a matter for the Ministry of Energy to consider and carry out. Munilan believes that he could throw some shade, but it's not well founded. In fact, unsurprisingly, it is misplaced as the matter was being properly handled by the Ministry of Energy by experienced senior counsel and state attorneys. Fortunately for Trinidad and Tobago, the work done previously in the energy sector is bearing fruit with gas projects like Mentor, Aphrodite, and Manatee, having the promise of keeping the sector afloat. All these projects and many more that are to come were negotiated and secured prior to May 2025. So I understand Munilan's angst, right? So that is the report. The report on the incident that happened in Nikon where a worker died. State attorney and SC attorney, all attorneys, they would have advised the Ministry of Energy. And if now the court, as MP Young is saying that the report must be released, well, that is for Nikon and the Ministry of Energy and Minister of Energy now to treat and deal with. So let me continue. So Munilan is urging, just now, let me see who he's urging. He's urging Shell to produce more, you know that thing, go for it, big fit, yeah. Munilan, oh God, come on, man. Those things won't negotiate. Right, Munilan urges Shell to boost Manatee of gas output. Yes, and you have to thank Minister Stuart Young at the time when he was Minister of Energy and Energy Industries, and the Prime Minister at the time, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, for all the benefits that you as Minister is going to reap now, but you still can't say, is you do it. So you're really in a sticky place in truth, you know. You want to say we get the gas, because if you say you get the gas, people will tell you have nothing to do with it. And but you can't say the gas ain't coming, so you're not real messing truth. So Dr. Munilan, we hear you. Shall do what they have to do, and they know what they have to do, right? People diplomacy, we just always talk about diplomacy. That's a word we hear throwing about now. Hi Patricia, hi Robert, hi Katian. Diplomacy is a word we are hearing tossed around now. And I said, let me talk about some diplomacy. So what actually is diplomacy? So I was reading here because I do a little reading, and I read that I got this from jgu.edu.in. And it says here the meaning and definition. What is diplomacy? Diplomacy is a process of practice. Diplomacy is a process and practice of communication and negotiation between actors in the international system with the aim of achieving their goals and resolving their conflicts and disputes. Diplomacy involves the use of various methods and tools such as dialogue, persuasion, compromise, coercion to influence and shape the behavior and outcomes of other actors. Diplomacy defined can vary depending on the perspective and approach of the scholar or practitioner, but one common and widely accepted definition is diplomacy is the management of international relations by negotiations, the method by which these relations are adjusted and maintained by ambassadors and envoys, the business or art of the diplomacy. And it has different types of diplomacy. And so the history of diplomacy has a long, rich history, and it has evolved and changed over time, along with the development and transformation of the international system and the actors in it. The history of diplomacy can be traced back to the ancient times when the first civilizations and empires emerged and interacted with each other, and when the first forms of diplomacy, such as envoys, treaties, and alliances were practiced. Diplomacy also developed and diversified in the medieval and modern times, when the rise and fall of various states and empires, the emergence and spread of various religions and ideologies, and the discoveries and colonization of various regions and continents shaped and reshaped the international system and actors in it. So there are different types of diplomacies, and they went on to say. So we don't need to, but the importance of it. Diplomacy is important and relevant for our lives and the future of humanity, as it affects and is affected by the various issues on topics that we face and deal with in the global arena, such as security, trade, human rights, development, and environmental protection. It enables and facilitates the communication and cooperation between actors in the international system, and it helps to prevent and restore the conflicts and disputes that arise amongst them. Diplomacy also shapes and influences the world order and the global governance that we live in and aspire for. So that's just a little about diplomacy, how important it is. Let me see something else here, because it's such a write-up, that is a whole art by itself, So it says here now, again I'm reading for www.diplomacy.eud. This is 2010. The importance of diplomacy in preventing conflicts is highlighted. They say in this text here, and it said diplomatic efforts both before and after conflicts are crucial for resolving disputes peacefully. Diplomacy plays a key role in preventing escalation of tension, promoting understanding, and finding mutually acceptable solutions. It emphasizes the need for respectful communication, negotiation, and compromise to maintain peace and stability in the international arena. Diplomatic channels must be utilized effectively to address grievances, build trust, and foster cooperation amongst nations. Diplomacy is a vital tool for resolving conflicts and maintaining harmonious relations between countries. So everybody say that what diplomacy does, and it works. Right? Let me see something else here again. So I'm seeing here, something here that says, hi Pami, several individuals have made significant contributions to peace efforts in Africa. Prominent figures include Nobel Peace laureate Nelson Mandela, Desmond Tutu, Kofi Annan, and Lema Gobowi, as well as figures like Ralph Bunche and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who have worked tirelessly for peace and justice in various capacities. And this is what Africa, they're talking with diplomacy, how that thing works. Additionally, the African unions have recognized the importance of youth and women in peacemaking, appointing young ambassadors and showcasing female leaders in peace-building efforts. and key individuals and their contributions. So we speak about Mandela, a transformative figure in South Africa, fought against apartheid and a global symbol of reconciliation and forgiveness. Desmond Tutu, a prominent anti-apartheid activist and Nobel Prize Peace Laureate who championed reconciliation and human rights in South Africa. Kofi Annan, a former Secretary General of the United Nations who played a key role in peace and security efforts globally, particularly in Africa. Lema Gbowee, a Liberian peace activist who mobilized women to end the civil war in Liberia and was a Nobel Peace Prize laureate for efforts. Ralph Bonshea, an American diplomat and Nobel Peace Prize laureate who mediated in the Israel-Palestinian conflict and other conflicts around the world, including Africa. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the first democratically elected female president of a major African nation, Liberia, and a Nobel Peace Prize laureate who promoted peace, democracy, and women's rights. Then you had African Youth Ambassadors for Peace, individuals like Al-Hafiz Hassan Ahmad, Emma Lenganga, the Mpuli Kigeski, and it goes on and on. So there's the importance of diplomacy in the way we treat and do things. Right? So we're coming up to Labor Day, and I always like to speak about women who have played part in labor. And in this point, I'm speaking of diplomacy, women who have been instrumental as pacifists and peacemakers. And there's a long list of women that you wouldn't believe. They come from all countries, many Australia, Botswana, Belgium, Bulgaria, Canada, Colombia, and I'm still living out there. Guatemala, Germany, France, Finland, India, Iran, Israel, and it goes on and on. It speaks about Elisa Agani Lolini, from since 1858 to 1922, pioneering Italian feminist pacifist, surrogaphist, and politician. Cora Di Brazzi, Alema Delon. It just goes on and on. This is a serious matter. And women have also played a part in helping to keep peace and diplomatic channels. Right. So, the St. Vincent, well, we know the situation that would have happened with President Maduro would have said what he said, that they get some Trinidadian and something with weapons war to come to try to destabilize Venezuela. And instead of using diplomatic channels, our Prime Minister, she come out, stand, she ground, she was big, she was bad, she let them know, don't play with we. If you come in we water, I'm paraphrasing, if you come in we water, I telling the Coast Guard to use force and all kind of thing. That would have created a stir, because then President Maduro and them basically say, oh, where's that one, why? What you going on so far? I just talk my thing. You want to get on so? There are people in Trinidad who applaud and shambling, yes! Stand up for the country, stand up, yes! And I want to ask them people, right? If them going and stand up for the 5,000 strong we have in the army in front, and any bad thing jump off, that they're going to be there fighting. Or if they're so sure that this America that is so love with Donald Trump going to come to help. I'm just asking them, because at the end of the day, all over the world, people use diplomatic channels to treat with issues that they have international issues. That is the better way to go than just playing out war, because nobody wins in a war, and the only people who suffer again is the quote-unquote poor people that I like to talk about. So I see St. Vincent and the Grenadines jump in the conversation, and he should, because he's a part of CARICOM. So this was 20 hours ago. In Guardian, St. Vincent PM urges peace and calm between TNT and Venezuela. St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Dr. Al Gonzalez has urged both Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela to exercise restraint and resolve their differences peacefully and in line with international law. All I would like to do is to urge both neighbors to continue to act peacefully in accordance with international law, Gonzalez said in an interview with Guardian Media yesterday. He warned against inflaming the situation with strong language. As far as practicable, we do not incline the situation with an excessive rhetoric. We just take our patients into account, and whatever is the problem, we solve them maturely between two neighbors. Tensions between TNT and Venezuela escalated last week after Venezuelan Justice Minister Diosdado Cabello alleged that on his program Con El Mazo Dando that a Trinidadian by the name of Luis Randall Jerome had been captured en route to Venezuela with a group of labeled terrorists in an attempt to destabilize the government. Senior police officers in this country confirmed that the person named by Cabello did not appear on TNT criminal database, and during last Thursday post-cabinet meeting, Prime Minister Kamala Bissessa issued as she delivered a deadly warning to Venezuela, and TNT was off limits, right? So that is what would have happened there. So contacted yesterday, the St. Vincent Grenadines Prime Minister was asked whether CARICOM should intervene in the developing tension. He replied, maybe not as yet, but that's why I'm urging peace and calm. Gonzalez reaffirmed CARICOM and the region's broader commitment to peace. That would be what my own broad position would be to do as someone who supports very much, and we all do, and CARICOM does, and so does Venezuela. We support our region as a region of peace, and we want to see good governance. Right? He cautioned against joining an outside force. If there's any challenge which arises, we should not intervene in the internal affairs of any other state. We should not bring any foreign power into this particular matter. This is a matter which we have to be careful that is not blown out of proportion, right? And Guardian Media also reached out to other regional leaders, including Antigua and Barbuda Prime Minister Gaston Brown and Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley, but all calls went unanswered. Guyana President Irfan Ali was also contacted through communications official, but no response was received up to time. Right? So, and it goes on and on. So, Prime Minister Ralph Gonzalez urging for peace and a tempered tone. This is about, at the end of the day, it is about diplomacy. And our opposition leader is very well aware of diplomacy, seeing that she was once an ambassador to the UN, sent there by Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. So this was, I just call this man the baddest Indian out. I don't mean it disrespectfully, Rafiq Shah. This is June the 7th, 2025, in the Trinidad Express, and this is what he had to say. Let me see how quickly I could go through it. I hope and expect those in authority who have the powers to act if the need arises to remove a sitting Prime Minister and government by whatever means it takes to save our country from what appears to be a spark of madness which is threatening to engulf us as I write. That was Friday night, he said. Because after I listened to Prime Minister Kamala Bissessa a few nights ago, when I heard what she said, I scrutinized her image on television to see if I could discern any signs of insanity or dementia. I leave that for the experts to work on. But I insist something is very wrong inside her head because there she was on a normal day in office working up a storm out of a few minor events that ordinarily would trigger her ripple. Now I should say here that when President Maduro of Venezuela earlier on claimed that some Colombian military personnel, or maybe they were personnel looking that way, were captured by Venezuelan forces and interrogated, his security forces were convinced the captors were headed to Venezuela with malintent. I did wonder why he had not raised the issue of the alleged Trinidadian connection with our Prime Minister before going public with it. I thought there was only one reason that breach of protocol occurred based on everything she has said on Venezuela since 2015. It might well be that her new government and Caracas are not a phone call away, as obtained when the previous government held office. Whatever the tension between Caracas and Port of Spain, nothing that any high Venezuelan official said justifies the threats that PM Kamala made to Venezuelans. Those were startling. She warned President Maduro that any vessel found in Trinidad waters that was not identified as being friendly will be met with full force that we will unleash on them. Such clear threats make in an environment in which there is tension that has been created in large measure by the Americans with what their sanction had prohibited all countries from trading with Venezuela, means all it takes for hell to follow is for someone on the other side of this showdown to fire first. Hell, even a misfire will do. I do not think our PM is mad. She must have some strong reasons for taking what seems like a storm in a teacup, where switches and other controls keep the neighboring countries apart in a very delicate way. At any time, a mistake from a finger or the lips could cause all hell to break loose with deadly consequences. I do not believe that is what our PM wants. I think that she has a mind that keeps her continuously looking to make the news headlines with outrageous claims and antics. What is she after most of all is grabbing the front pages and headlines of the big international news medias that will feature photographs of the diminutive but bedecked lady causing an exchange of fire or some other incident in which lives are lost and she got her 5 minutes of fame. That is what the lady is looking for. She is blissfully unaware that those few moments of glory for her could easily spell death to real people from the Caribbean or Venezuela. And very often in our past history, when such situations arose, the anointed one who is riding a wave across the globe, albeit for 5 minutes, knows or cares nothing about the consequences. This is not the first time in history the Caribbean has been caught up in a violent confrontation that has left many of our people dead. I think it was 1983 that the Grenadian Revolution led by Maurice Bishop and Bernard Court imploded. Many Grenadians would die in order to justify landing American troops in the Caribbean. The then American President Ronald Reagan used Eugenia Charles, the Prime Minister of Dominica, as the key. When she made it to the White House for a one-on-one meeting with President Reagan, she betrayed her limited knowledge of anything Caribbean. One of the Bradshaws of Antigua politics also got a morning show exposure on some other trivial issue. What they did not know is that these news anchors on these popular shows get their fun off them. Trinidad and Tobago going to war with Venezuela would be akin to the ass in the lion's skin, or more appropriately, the mouse that roared. This country, armed forces, is in no way compares with Venezuela. They possess bigger forces, better arms and ammunition, and highly trained personnel, all of whom are motivated to defend their country with their lives. We have nothing to fight over with Venezuela. That was Rafik Shah there, and I concur. I also see that David Abdullah had his say. So let me see what Abdullah had to say. So this is David Abdullah. It's important we hear what other people are saying, not just us, right? So this was 20 hours ago in The Guardian. Abdullah tells government no need to escalate tensions with Venezuela. Political leader of the movement of social justice, David Abdullah, has criticized government handling of recent allegations involving Venezuela, urging a measured response grounded in diplomacy rather than speculation. Speaking at a virtual news conference yesterday, Abdullah said the government should have responded more cautiously to Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro's claim rather than escalating tensions through reactionary statements. Rather than have, statements that go backwards and forwards, ratcheting up the temperature, what ought to have happened is actually Trinidad and Tobago, after the first statement of President Maduro, should simply have said, we have noted that statement, we are now seeking to get information from Venezuela about this incident and that they have reported, Abdullah said. He rejected the government's reliance on what he described as unsubstantiated claims. The suggestion that Trinidad and Tobago has no evidence of anything is not necessarily the best foundation on which to rest your case, he warned. Abdullah argued that the porous nature of the country's borders means local authorities often lack direct evidence of unauthorized movement, whether by nationals or foreigners, including Colombians. He described the government's approach as flawed, saying the foundation was not a good foundation. Instead, he called for government to engage Venezuelan authorities directly to understand the full context of the reported incident. The better approach would have been to get from the Venezuelan authorities precisely what they knew about the situation, which would then have enabled us as Trinidad and Tobago to make an appropriate response. Abdullah also placed the controversy within the border's geopolitical context, warning that TNT must be aware of ongoing power struggles in the hemisphere. There is a constant global and hemispheric geopolitics at play, he said. He urged vigilance. The diplomatic tension between the countries arose earlier this week, and I would have read all that already, and I would have read what she would have said. So, meanwhile, the Chaguanas Chamber of Commerce has renewed its concern over the escalating challenges posed by Venezuelan issues, particularly in the areas of national security, economic stability, and citizen welfare. So, the Chamber President Balmat Maharaj said, securing our maritime borders continues to be a major challenge, especially in the southwestern region of Trinidad. Boats travel back and forth daily, many undetected, making it virtually impossible to fully monitor and manage the movement of people and goods with the existing resources we have. Maharaj added that the absence of a clearly defined maritime boundary between Trinidad and Venezuela has further complicated the situation. Despite these mounting concerns, the Chamber maintains that diplomacy must remain the cornerstone of TNT engagement with Venezuela. It says Trinidad and Tobago has long maintained a constructive relationship with Venezuela, and we must preserve that bond. There is still an opportunity to engage Venezuela in meaningful dialogue, not just to address security concerns, but also to explore economic collaboration, particularly around their gas reserves, which could offer long-term benefits to our country's economy if responsibly handled. Papayo. So they are calling also for diplomacy. This word diplomacy. And here they say, no, be diplomatic, because the oil, the gas that Venezuela have, we could use it. It's not Kamala and them say, drag on dead and cry it down and all kind of thing. Chamber. Or they in chambers, or the business chamber. It's not, or the Prime Minister who, while in opposition, cry down the dragon and glad it dead and all kind of. So, after all that the Prime Minister would have done and talk tough and carry on, 4 hours ago, hi Donna, hi Merle, 4 hours ago, CNC3 News, Sobers meets with Venezuelan ambassador. Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs Ron Sobers held discussion earlier today with Venezuelan Ambassador Alvaro Sanchez Cordero. The meeting was deemed a courtesy call by the Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. According to a statement, both sides also discussed matters of mutual interest and concern, inclusive of recent events, with Minister Sobers reiterating the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago previous request for information from the government of Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. Arising out of the discussion, it was agreed that in the spirit of constructive dialogue, open diplomatic channels will be maintained with a view to ensuring that the exchange of information is fair, transparent, and consistent. The meeting comes as tensions between Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela escalated last week after Venezuelan Justice Minister, the whole thing, I read it already, and the senior police officer of this country has affirmed that nobody by that name appear in a criminal record, and then they talk about Ralph Gonzalez talking about restraint and all that. So I'm saying this to say, right? Before our Prime Minister Kano Prasad they jump out at all them kind of confusion talk and bacchanal talk, because that is confusion and bacchanal talk, because that could put real people's life at risk. She didn't know that we have a Foreign Affairs and CARICOM Minister, that he was the one to go to reach out to the Venezuelan ambassador, who's right there around by Bishop High School around this one, to talk to find out, let me keep it open. Didn't know all that before. than all Australia and tralala that play out. And they still have to go right back to what? Diplomacy and diplomatic channel. That's all they vote for, yes. Alright, let me continue. So just a little, you remember that David Abdullah spoke about the Grenada incident. So very quickly, let me just touch on it, just to remind you all how these things could go if we're not careful about how we treat with matters. And I may not be able to read the whole thing, but it's just to bring back to your memory, right? So the US invasion of Grenada, I got this from www.britannica.com. US invasion of Grenada, October the 25th, 1983. US-led invasion of the Caribbean country of Grenada to overthrow a military government that had taken power in a bloody coup days earlier. Grenada achieved independence from the United Kingdom on February 7, 1974, and the transition was marked by violence, strife, and controversy centering upon Eric Gary, who was named Grenada's Prime Minister. Gary's autocratic rule was characterized by widespread corruption, and his paramilitary mongoose gang conducted a campaign of extra-legal violence against his political opponents. Resistance to Gary's continued to mount, and a coalition called the New Jewel Movement, along with other opposing parties, succeeded in reducing Gary's parliamentary majority in the 1976 election. At the time of the coup that deposed him, Gary was widely known for his interest in the paranormal, was at the United Nations in New York, pressing his case for the creation of an international committee to study unidentified flying objects. On March 30, 1979, while Gary was out of the country, the NJM, that is the National Jewel Movement, staged a bloodless coup, proclaimed a People's Revolutionary Government, PRG, and named their leader, Maurice Bishop, as Prime Minister. The new government faced opposition from Western countries because of its socialist principles and the substantial aid it had begun receiving from Cuba. But it embarked on a program to rebuild the economy, which had been left in disarray by Gary. Over the next several years, the Bishop regime implemented social and economic reforms, signed mutually assistant agreements with the Soviet bloc states, and hastened construction of a large airstrip that the United States feared would ultimately be used by Soviet aircraft. Bishop, for his part, asserted that the airport was critical for the development of Grenada's tourism sector, as current facilities could not accommodate direct flights from the US or Europe. Some 800 Cuban troops were dispatched to provide security and construction assistance with the airfield. The administration of US President Ronald Reagan tried to counter Soviet influence in the region with its 1983 Caribbean Basin Initiative, a trade and development agreement that Bishop seemed open to the possibility of closer ties with the United States. In June 1983, Bishop traveled to Washington, D.C. and met with U.S. officials. This attempt to tour relations with the U.S. was fiercely opposed by hardline Marxists within the National Jewel Movement. On October 13, 1983, Bernard Cord, Bishop Deputy Prime Minister, moved to top of the government. Bishop was placed under house arrest at his home in St. George, and General Hudson Austin, commander of the Grenadian Armed Forces, declared himself head of the Revolutionary Military Council. On October 19th, massive throngs of supporters gathered at Bishop's house, overpowered his guard, and freed him. The crowd then traveled to the city market square before proceeding to Fort Rupert, now Fort George, the headquarters of the Grenadian Army. Co-supporters amongst the armed forces opened fire on the crowd, and Bishop and several of his cabinet ministers were seized and executed. Paul School, Grenada's Governor-General, invited military action by friendly states to restore peace, and much of the legal basis for the subsequent invasion would hinge on this request. School was promptly placed under house arrest. On October the 22nd, representatives of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, met in Barbados and pleaded to remove the outlawed regime on Grenada, an endeavor for which they formally requested U.S. assistance. On October the 25th, 1983, the U.S. launched Operation Urgent Fury, its largest military action since the end of the Vietnam War. Initial landing were made in the pre-dawn hours by 200 U.S. Army Rangers, who parachuted from the altitude of less than 500 feet to avoid fire from Cuban anti-aircraft guns at the Point Salines airstrip, now Maurice Bishop International Airport. The airport was seized and 500 more Rangers were flown in, followed by additional 5,000 troops from the 82nd Airborne Division, who were airlifted directly from U.S. bases. Meanwhile, a U.S. Navy SEAL contingent freed School from house arrest, while other SEAL operators prepared beaches and landing sites for 2,000 U.S. Marine Corps, amphibious and helicopter troops. The combined forces quickly moved to occupy the island's airfields, power stations, and broadcast facilities. U.S. troops also secured the St. George University School of Medicine, where more than 600 American students were enrolled. Initial resistance was sharp, especially at Point Salines airstrip. Many of the Cuban workers who were helping to build the runway were Army construction engineers, fully trained and equipped for combat. They were outnumbered, however, and most surrendered after 2 days. Comparatively few members of the Grenadian Armed Forces resisted. The U.S. Expeditionary Force was accompanied by some 300 soldiers from the OECS countries of Antigua, Barbuda, Dominica, Jamaica, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent. In a televised address on October 27, Reagan characterized Grenada as a Soviet Cuban colony and claimed that the invasion had occurred just in time. The invasion came just 48 hours after a suicide truck bomb attack on the U.S. Marine barracks in Beirut, Lebanon, that claimed the lives of 249 service members. By mid-December 1983, all U.S. combat forces had been withdrawn from Grenada, with some 300 non-combat troops remaining in the country as advisors for the OECS peacemaking contingent. School, as the acting head of government, appointed an interim advisory council under Nicholas Brathwaite, a Grenadian education officer who had been serving as the regional director for the Commonwealth Youth Program. Brathwaite led the country until democratic election could be held in December 1984. Casualties in the U.S. invasion of Grenada were relatively few. Among U.S. troops, 19 were killed and 116 wounded. Cuban Air Forces suffered 24 killed and 59 wounded. There were 21 members of the Grenadian Army killed in action, while Grenadian civilian casualties numbered 24 dead and 337 wounded. That was brought to you real and direct what happened in the invasion of Grenada. This was written in 2021 by Simeon Humphrey, National Workers Union. It said U.S. military occupation of Trinidad. The history of U.S. occupation of Trinidad is not widely known here or in the rest of the Caribbean. Caribbean people, including citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, know little about the American occupation of the then British colonies during and after the Second World War. During a recent discussion with some comrades, objections was raised to the use of the term occupation to describe the experience. We must not allow a definition of occupation given by the British colonial powers to mislead us into believing that the deal they made with the US during World War II to give lands across the West Indian Islands in exchange for 50-old naval assets did not result in the military occupation of our country with its attendant violence, discrimination, and plunder. They engaged in land dispossession, rape, murder, bullying, and violence against local people, and created federal military preserves, which local law and authorities had no jurisdiction. Both my father and my grandfather worked with the Yankees during the occupation, so my knowledge is first grounded in their oral histories and later records of the US and British Imperial Archives. There were several military bases in Trinidad, but none in Tobago. The Chaguaramas Naval Base occupied the entire northwest peninsula of Trinidad and all the adjacent islands at the entrance of Gulf of Paria. Military historian and former TNT Coast Guard Chief Gaylord Kelshaw has written books on the history of the strategic role and importance of this naval base to the US-UK war efforts in the Battle of the Atlantic Seas Lane, for the battle for the Atlantic Sea Lanes. The Fort Reed Army Base at Waterfield was a logistical hub for the North African campaign and was the largest air base in the world during that period. It was not unusual to find the body of a local woman with her throat slit in one of the rivers traversing this base after a weekend. Now this is Trinidad and Tobago he talking about it. And the locals he talking about is Trinidad and Tobago locals. Let me read it again. It was not unusual to find the body of a local woman with her throat slit in one of the rivers traversing the base after a weekend. The Andrews sisters immortalized the prostitution driven by the Chaguaramas occupation when they stole the calypso composed by Lord Invader, which celebrated drinking rum and Coca-Cola going down Point Cumana. Point Cumana and Carnage being the villages at the entrance of the U.S. federal territory. The U.S. Army established its first training school for jungle warfare on the North Manzanilla Peninsula, and it operated thus until its transfer to Panama after the war. A primary mission of the military occupation of Trinidad was also to protect several oil refineries located here, which supplied the fuel for the U.S.-British war machines during and after World War II. Other smaller bases were located at Carlson Field, Hoover, Cedros, and there was an emergency landing strip at Toco. Kelshaw also created and curated the Chaguaramas Military Museum, which now faces demise since its death, with the exception of the annual November Remembrance Day ceremony. None of the neo-colonial regimes since 1962 have examined the aspects of our history and paid proper respect, gratitude, or reparation to the people who were subject to the occupation. The Chaguaramas base was also the site of one of the Omega navigation stations, which allowed Polaris submarines to circumnavigate the globe before satellites took over, and it was also the site for one of the radar tracking stations used for Apollo mission. Much more information can be obtained from the archives of the Imperial War College and Pentagon and U.S. Naval Archives. I hope that this helps you obtain more perspective on our region's role in the military adventures of the empire. Right, so this again was written by, and it's something I never knew before, by Simeon Humphrey, and he is from the National Workers Union. It was put out by the National Workers Union, and he painted a very graphic picture of what the quote-unquote occupation of America in Trinidad, what it was. It came with rape and murder and abuse and dispossession of land and a whole set of atrocities. So let me continue. Now we're going to some politics here now. Now we're going to some politics here now. I'll get to some politics. So I hope you all would have enjoyed the little history, because it's about me. With me is always about teaching something, you know? Not always confusion and bacchanal. So this was written by, I'm going to spell the name, capital L-U, and then separate capital N, N-A-U-O-L. The person put the name, that is the author of this, and I'm going to read what the person wrote. Excuse me. Whilst you all focus on any issue, I want to make something lucidly clear. As General Secretary of our party, PNM, you cannot remove yourself from playing an integral role in our defeat at the 2025 general election. Your role is to ensure that we are always ready when the election bell is rung. It was clear that we weren't. So, dearest Foster, we do not care if you didn't know about the election date. We do not care who called elections. The fact is, as General Secretary of the party, our machinery was not ready. This is a fact. And that is why you should have done the principled act of tendering your resignation. But here we are, and yet you still offer yourself again. To what end? You're so desperate to hold on to title? Don't think we aren't aware of the we is not me, is the person who wrote it and whoever the whatever. Don't think we aren't aware of the celebration that you had at BH, by Balize House, on the night of April the 20th, 2025. Don't think we aren't aware of you and your crew plans to create more havoc in certain constituencies after internals. To my PNM brothers and sisters, if you want a change, the change has to start from the leadership, and we cannot expect any change if the same leadership is put back at the helm. Vote wisely at the internal elections. The person say, I beg. Again, this was L, capital L-U, and then the other name is N, capital N, N-A-U-O-L. Not my words. Excuse me. So, having read that, I'm seeing that the opposition leader would have hit back at her detractors, and this is what she would have said. Right. And this was Guardian, in the Guardian. Just loading here. Hi Rosemary, hi Donna. Penny hits back at detractors, I won't be running down every car. Opposition leader Penelope Beckers is letting the detractors know not to underestimate her humility. Breaking from her usual reserved disposition in a fiery address at the One PNM campaign launch at the Arima Angel Harp Spaniard on Saturday evening, Beckers said she would not be forced to act before she's ready. I'm not running down every car that passes, and nobody ain't rushing me to talk before I'm ready to talk. What all they really think it is? Beckers asked the crowd as they chanted her name. She also acknowledged the role of the PNM played in some of the social issues in this country, including crime, and promised to do better. Beckers was selected as opposition leader on May the 4th. She's the sole candidate for the post of political leader in the People's National Movement June 22nd internal election. Social media pages that seem to be dissatisfied with her leadership, such as Changemakers 2025 and Red Mobilization, have been criticizing her and her One PNM slate. Some key members of the One PNM team include Marvin Gonzalez for chairman, Dr. Amy Brown for vice chairman, Dr. Nayan Gaspi Dolly as lady vice chair, Foster Cummins as general secretary, Faris Alwari as SC as public relations officer, and Kareem Marcel as youth officer. Some people aren't happy. I have a slate, right? Let me tell you something. One of the most important things in life is when you're leading, is to have soldiers, she stated. referencing a strategy used by the first leader of the PNM, Dr. Eric Williams, who would sometimes remove his hearing aid during parliamentary sessions to show he was deliberately tuning out noise, criticism, or dissent. The first woman political leader of the party told her supporters she understood why he did that. She encouraged those in her corner to ignore the noise. Sometimes you just don't need to listen. We must ensure that we have the facts, and when we speak, the people must trust what we say, she said. Beckers added that this was the first time in history of the party that so many people offered themselves to serve. That's a good sign, democracy at work, she said. Them who complain in game chambers, red mobilization, wherever, yes, don't worry about them, Beckers continued in a Trinidad. As the party prepares for its 70th anniversary in January 2026, Beckers said when the PNM reflected on its election defeat, they learned that many of their supporters felt hurt, unseen, unheard, and forgotten. The leader acknowledged the role that her party played in the country's high crime rate and state of the economy. We have seen families unsure of their next meal. Crime has made some parents afraid to let their children even walk the street. Let us not pretend some of that pain comes during the time when the People's National Movement was in charge, she said. But she made it clear that under her leadership, those who offer themselves to serve must be accountable. Beckers added that those who hold position must attend to the General Council and told her 13 MPs to go back to their constituency once elected. She said they would also visit opposition constituency and Tobago. I want to say to you, we didn't lose our way, we just lost touch, and that ends now under my leadership, she said. And to ensure that supporters, especially young people, do not feel disconnected, the party policy seems distant. Beckers announced that after PNN June 29 convention, she will be accessible through regular public days at Balize House. The Arima MP, who has served in the party since 1995, also announced the launch of the PNM Health Hotline for people who find themselves victims of a callous and ruthless government. So that was the voice there of the political leader of an opposition leader, the political leader of the People's National Movement, an opposition leader of Trinidad and Tobago. I want to just say a couple of things. There's a conversation that I trying to, something to the effect of probably sabotage the opposition leader and political leader. I don't know if it's campaign or what, but a couple of things. Like, all they don't realize she win the position of political leader. She is the political leader because nobody went up against her. She is the political leader. Nothing I could say and I could do could change that. That is 1, 2. I have never denied supporting my member of parliament, Stuart Young, but he's not in the race. And I support him as a member of parliament. I've never come here and tell people, don't vote for Penelope Beckers, or don't vote for she slate or she team or whatever they have. I never said those things. My conversation about the opposition leader has been one thing and one thing consistently. Tell me, other than being a nice woman, who I admit that she is, a humble woman, tell me what again that gives her the credence or the credibility or the characteristics to run the People's National Movement in a space where there are 13 men, 9 down, with a UNC that although half of them is upset that should they go be talking, but it's still numbers they have. And Dominic explained it. When they talking, one talk, when them 13 done, them have to listen to the next rest of them until whenever, unless they could work out something with 2 talk from the UNC and 1 talk for the PNM, so you kind of develop. In the absence of that, when the 13 members of parliament on the opposition side would have spoken on whatever topic, they have to sit down to listen to the rest of whoever to talk and all that. And then it may not even be 13 talking because we have 5 new people, 5 newbies in the parliament itself who may not be up to standard right now in order to really present. I don't know. Probably they are working on it, I don't know. But the point I'm making is this. I have never denied, as I said, supporting my member of parliament. That is my member of parliament, that is my right. And if some people see that as me not being black, and I'm not supporting blackness, well, that has to do with how they feel about themselves. Because me supporting Stuart Young, a Chinese Indian man, takes away nothing from my blackness, takes away nothing from me supporting a black brother, a black sister. So because somebody is black, they must get a pass. And because somebody is Chinese or Syrian or whatever, they must get a pass. No, it's people we're talking about in politics. If they have no pass, you go up for public service, you go get jammed. If my member of parliament do something that me like, whoever it is, who tell I won't talk about it? So this conversation that my blackness is in question because I do not support, and I'll say it again, I do not support Mrs. Penelope Beckers, but that does not say I don't like the woman. That does not say I go around and tell people, don't vote for TIng. I have nothing to do with that. Who people want to vote for, let her go and vote for. I will continue to ask again, tell me what she has done during all her years in the People's National Movement that will make me comfortable. As I say again, you know about George Chambers, you know about Panda, you know, I knows nothing. And if all they know what she has done other than her being nice and a humble woman, well, God, just tell me. I will come on my show and I will big up the woman. But nobody can tell me all they're doing is cussing me because I asked them that question. What is ironic to me? Okay, so I'm talking about her, and my thing has to do with her credibility and the work. Why are you responding to her? Let her respond to me. Well, okay, me and important, so she don't have to respond to me. Let me rephrase that. Let her respond and tell people the questions that they asking, because not I alone asking those questions. Instead of that, Mrs. Penelope Beckers Robinson, it does you no good. The same way all you want to say that ain't doing Stuart Young no good, and people, I don't know who coming out and cussing people for Stuart Young, because I certainly don't. I don't see nobody who supports Stuart Young making no live and cussing Mrs. Penelope Beckers or cussing she supporters for supporting she. I haven't seen it because I certainly don't do it. So I want to tell the opposition leader and political leader, she is the political leader because nobody has challenged her. So I don't understand if all they don't know she win. She's the opposition, she's the political leader of the People's National Movement. I want to tell the political leader of the People's National Movement, tell your people who support you, their behavior also could be a turn-off. Because we have the right not to support if we don't support. Just the same way your supporters have all right to support you. And why it is they have a problem with people who don't support you? If all they know, or they have the crowd support, or they have the support at Trinidad and Tobago, because now we have a nice, humble opposition leader who will talk and listen to the people, who the young people will love. Why all they studying we if we don't support her? Or they have all the support. What is the problem? I don't understand that. What is all this about? I have a right to support who I want to support, but I've never come here and told nobody don't support Penelope Beckers. I never said that. I've been asking questions. Tell me what she has done that I will feel comfortable that, yes, that's the person. You hear even the newspaper say out of character how she get on up in things, because we're not accustomed here in that. So if a newspaper reporting, she get on out of character. So then you're not your authentic self. Be real, be you. If your way of talking is humble and thing, continue that. You talk about the shouting and the arrogance and all that. How you think you sound? If we were to talk arrogance, how you think you sound on the platform, opposition leader, political leader? People can interpret it as, when she playing, she thinking up, she said, come now man, stop throwing on the word arrogance instead of, or that she's supposed to be saying, assertive. But if you want to throw on the word arrogance, Dr. Rowley was arrogant because they only keep throwing shade at the man right through. Dr. Rowley, all they calling the man name, but only throwing shade. And that is the man who took you out of political wilderness. When Mr. Patrick Manning, deceased, put you in political graveyard. It's Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, man today, all you throwing shade on and talking about he wasn't humble and he have. Is he give all the career? He bring back all and give all the career. So where's this big thing? If all they don't like his style of doing things, whatever the case may be, or they have a chance to do it better. But all they come on, all they want to do the same thing, because Madam Political Leader, one of the issues people still haven't talking about it, which is real, is that to choose your opposition leader, you didn't call all 13 members of parliament who win the seat. You call only 6. You have never denied us saying that. You call only 6 and with yourself, and the voters say make 7 from 13. So the 6 who didn't call, they put you, the 7, you yourself included, as the opposition leader. The other 6 only find out about it somewhere in the media or something. Was that the right way to start? Isn't it doing it the way that Ollie accused Dr. Ollie of doing things? Trying to push people down the trail. So 6 Ollie tried to push the opposition leader, who is not the political leader, PM, down people's throat. It's all they're doing, all they start off doing the wrong things. So they can vex the people. It has been said that 2 people who voted for Dr. Naim Gaspi and somebody else, there wasn't legal to vote. I haven't heard all they deny it. And today we have Dr. Naim Gaspi sitting as the chairman, I think it is, and some other person or something. That is what Ole did. When Ole say Ole going to do different than Dr. Ole ain't going to force nobody. And Ole doing the same thing that Ole accused the man of doing. So nobody mustn't talk about that. So because I say not supporting Ms. Penelope Beckers, I is one person. I am one person. There is no voting for her. So it's not as if I could go and vote for somebody else. She is the political leader. I have no problem with that. All I will continue to ask, what has she done in her career? She spoke about she worked in different ministries and she was here and there. Okay, I hear that, but tell me something. I looked all over social media. I see you there in Dockline. I see you baking bread. You're doing stick fight. You're cutting coconut. I can't even cut a coconut with a cutlass. I had to call my husband right through, because I was sitting with a saw and saw it until I get it open. You're meeting with your constituent. That's the job of a member of parliament. That is nothing unusual. That is nothing extraordinary. So if it's that alone they're talking about that make you fit to be opposition, I don't agree. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with that? I'm on a page, as I tell you. I'm on a page where a lot of PNM people are. And these are some of the questions I was asking when they cussing and insulting me. Here are the questions I was asking. And this was since back in May the 16th, 2025. Here are the questions I was asking. What is the role and function of the Election Supervisory Committee? Is the role and function of the Election Supervisory Committee enshrined into the PNM Constitution, or is the Election Supervisory Committee just a creature for regulation? 3. Does the Election Supervisory Committee have the authority in determining the readiness of the membership list for the internal election? If not, who determines the readiness for the membership list of the election? 4. If the role and function of the Election Supervisory Committee is to determine the readiness of the membership list, then would the custodian of the membership list surrender that list to the committee on their request? And then I went on to say, every effort must be made for there to be free and fair internal election so as not to further irate members of the PNM. Let the healing start with a properly conducted internal election. I went on and asked the next question, and next time, will there be an independent audit of the membership list? Who is the custodian of the membership list? I go on asking more questions. Who is the custodian? I go on back again. Who is the custodian of the membership list? Is it the General Secretary? Where does the members of the Election Supervisory come from? Is it the sitting executive who chooses them? Then the election, the General Council ratify the executive preference? If so, then any member of the executive could put their friend or their support on the committee? Would that not create a conflict of interest? I say again, should the entire executive not resign under those circumstances in order for internal election to have the perception of being free and unfair? I'm going to ask next time again. I hope when it's time for internal PNM election, there will be no manipulation of the voters list, no ghost voter list, no names being removed from the voters list, that new applicants of the party with their application will be processed fairly, and all legally registered voters be allowed to vote for the candidate of their choice without harassment. I've been asking this question and they cuss me and they insult me on that chat where all them PNM people is. They cuss me as in obscene language, but all they know I mean. They insult me, they say all kind of things. Listen to this. This was in The Guardian 21 hours ago. People's Champion team threatens legal action over PNM's voters list. The People's Champion team contesting the internal election of the People's National Movement has threatened legal action against the party election supervisory committee over delays in releasing the voters list and polling station information. In a letter dated June the 7th, Attorney Sinclair Michael O'Neill wrote on behalf of the team. Failure to do so would result in our team considering all legal options available to us without further notice to the Election Supervisory Committee. The letter followed a response from the Election Supervisory Committee dated June the 6th, in which Secretary Dr. Annalise Percy wrote, "Please be advised that polling stations of all constituencies have not yet been finalized. All interested parties, including your clients, will be provided with a finalized membership listing next week." O'Neill replied, "The People's Champion team expressed its sincere disappointment regarding the unacceptable delay in receiving the voters list and essential information pertaining to the location of polling stations. This significant delay severely impacts on our ability to effectively canvass and engage with the electorate." He added, with the election just mere 16 days away, every moment is critical for our campaign to reach and communicate with the voters. The belated provision of this crucial data places the People's Champion team at a profound and unfair disadvantage. O'Neill also raised concern about unequal access to voter data. This is particularly concerning that other individuals who seemingly have direct control or earlier access to this sensitive information appears to be able to commence their canvassing efforts well in advance of others. This creates an uneven playing field that compromises the principles of fairness and transparency essential for a democratic election. He demanded that a complete voters list and polling station information be released without any further delay, no later than the 9th day of June 2025. In an earlier letter dated the 5th of June, O'Neill had also questioned the security of ballots between the voting date and PNM convention. Upon the completion of voting on the 22nd day of June 2025, what measures are being put in place to ensure that there is no tampering with ballots or ballot boxes, given that there is a 7-day gap until the convention? We further ask, what day is the election results carded to be disclosed to the public, and in particular the PNM membership? The PNM internal elections are scheduled for June 22nd, with the convention to be held a week later. I do not know this man. I do not know nobody on this Champion team. I don't know them. But the same thing I was asking since in May, the 16th of May, and come down, where they was cussing me for and insulting me for. Look, it could end up a court case. So what is the issue? Now I tell people, if the words I speak is a mirror and a reflection to how all I feel about all yourself, don't take it out on me. I have done nothing to jeopardize the PNM. I have not gone around before April the 20th telling people don't vote for the PNM because it's a black party and it's only black people to run it and don't vote for Seattle. I wasn't going around doing those things. I was right there in the whole election. I was in Tanapuna canvassing. In 2020 election, I was in La Joqueta canvassing. I was in La Joqueta on a loudspeaker. I was all in Greenville. In this election, I was all in Tanapuna. Because I understand the importance of People's National Movement. So which people is already be talking in truth? So now, it will have some court action because of the same thing I was talking about. So let me continue. There's a reason why I'm going to call, because you see, everybody could call everybody name and say all kind of thing about them. I just give everybody the way, and they leave way, because I'll tell you why. I know that on social media, and there are people who wouldn't like what I say, and that's okay. People have taken parts of my life already and make other pieces of it and say all kind of not hurtful, but nasty things, cuss me out, think whatever may say, not me, I guess that's part of it. My character will stand on its own. Just last week, I had an individual who cussed me because of my support of Stuart Young. I see another comrade come out today and had her say because of my support of Stuart Young. And all that is power for the cause. The only thing I just say at the end of the day, don't lie on me. Don't lie on me. You could say all kind of things about Jenny. Don't lie on me, because you see me, I don't talk with water in my mouth, nor do I do. I forget things that I say. Do not make all of their life, or they could call me dog, or they could say that I don't like black people. All kind of things. Don't lie on me. It have a true living God that I just pray to. One God, true living God I just pray to. I just go with clean hands, and I try as fast as possible to keep a clean heart. I don't jealous people. I don't fight down people for what they have. I don't be happy for people. Me perfect. I just cuss when I'm ready. I let her go through and think all always human, but I don't do no confusion by putting nobody in confusion. I let her think, talk and think. I just show me let her talk and think, whatever the case may be. But it's nothing to dampen somebody's character or waste on somebody's character. I'm not in the habit of doing those things, right? So all who want to try to carry down my character and whatever, and let me tell you something, my work will talk for me. So I wouldn't go there, I wouldn't make back nothing and cuss nobody and all that. But this is what I would do today. There's a particular individual in the chat that I'm in. She seems to always take me on every time I put up a post. Other people will pass it by and they will think whatever, but she in particular, I don't know if they send she for me. I don't know. So I would have put up this in the chat. It's not mine, it was forwarded to me and I forwarded because it's a chat where people are, I want them to see what other people say, right? Because they should be aware of what other people say. Whether they know the people, they feel as one people, they feel as 20 people, ever, it's people, right? This is what the post said. Fellow party members, what we are witnessing is not leadership under Penelope Beckers. It is a calculated attempt to claim ownership of a party that belongs to all of us. Penny Beckers and the handpicked slate she now promotes are behaving as though they own the PNM, as though it is their personal inheritance. Let us be honest. This is not a team built on unity or renewal. It is a slate filled with individuals who have long believed that the PNM belongs to them and them alone. Penny stood unopposed in good faith. Many of us give her that opportunity, trusting that she will honor the spirit of democracy, inclusion, and a fresh start. But instead, she used that uncontested position to turn around and betray the internal electorate. She secured her position quietly, only to loudly unveil a slate of the same old political elites, reinforcing a system of internal control that the membership had hoped to move beyond. This is deception, plain and simple. She did not earn our unopposed support to crown a clique. Yet, that is exactly what she has done. She has weaponized the support to elevate a group of people who treated PNM as their entitlement, not a movement grounded in service, sacrifice, and the will of the people. Enough is enough. The party does not belong to Penny. It does not belong to those on her slate. It belongs to us, the members, the workers, the youth, the elders, the ones who walk the communities, who bear the weight of service, and who still believe in the soul of the PNM. This must go, all of them. This moment calls a reset, not a recycle. In truth and defiance, a voice within the party, and below it marks shame. This individual who was a senator and who is the education officer now of the People's National Movement, this is what she responded. This style of writing and the words shared at the bottom look eerily familiar. I put, because as I tell you, everything I put up should have tag it and have to say something. So I said, you can't help but respond, can you? And I said, this one for you. Her dog's holler. That is a term. Meaning if somebody throws something out there and you come and respond and hype up yourself, they say her dog holler, right? She put, well, I know you didn't write it. Poor you. Poor you. I think again, you just have to respond. She go on again, she said, I feel sorry for you and your leash. I said, feel sorry for yourself. She said, no need at all. I am not anyone's used attack dog. Because I am not nasty and below the white line. When you are serious about the PNM and all people, I will have time for you. I want to tell Miss Laura Lee Lezama something. You was a senator. You was once chosen to go up as a candidate for the Arima seat. You hold the position of education officer of the People's National Movement. And you don't have to like me. You don't have to like the fact that I support Stuart Young. I support Stuart Young as my member of parliament. He is not in the race for political leader, so I can't support him for no political leader. He didn't take part in it. He is a political leader. But I support him as a member of parliament. I'm an ordinary voter. And for you to tell me, because it's me talking to, that I on a leash and I use a tag dog, I want to tell you something. When this use a tag dog, Miss Laura Lee Lezama was out there in the trenches with others, fighting on behalf of the PNM. All they didn't ask me. But we see a need to do because all they wasn't doing all their work. And we was cussing Kamala and cussing the UNC and getting cuss, called nigger, called monkey, called donkey, PNM hardhead. All them things we was getting called, but we was out there in the trenches fighting. 2015, 2020, and 2025. You didn't know. And calling all over radio. Going on programs with Michelle Phyllis, going on programs with Julia Davy, going on programs with this one, calling in John Benoit and John Gill and them, and I. You didn't know that I was a use attack dog on a leash. And that I know under the white line. Yes, I'm under the white line, but when I come up from under the white line, I'm still clean. You could say the same for you, but I rather to be a use attack dog than a clothespin, because clothespin does mash up and they just throw it away and they just look for a new one. Or they were talking bacchanal, well here the bacchanal tell she is saying that Miss Laura Lee Lezama. I don't know if I still carry this thing. Because it's not the first time, it's not the second time, it's not the third time. You ain't whiter than snow and you ain't more holy than nobody. I never disrespect you, but you always disrespect me on the chat. So now the last thing you do is to call me a use a tag dog on a leash, and you mean on a leash for Stuart Young. I prefer to be on a leash for Stuart Young than to be on a leash for the agriculture man. Because me, I want no man, I have a husband. And I use a tag dog could still make a noise and go ruff ruff and alert somebody, danger coming. A old clothespin can't do nothing. More than after you squeeze the head, the leg open and the mash up thing, it's a throw it away. Die the bacchanal. That's all I know. I like confusion, but die the confusion today. So you continue to insult me, Miss Laura Lee Lezama, Lee Singh. And don't put your house in order because your business must stink and dirty out a road than anybody else will be calling me a use a tag dog. I don't mind that, you know. But name the kind of dog is as a pit bull. As a pit bull when I hold on and then go. But your business stink and dirty out a road to be talking to me like that. I call her name again, Mrs. Laura Lee Lezama Lee Singh. You telling a member, an ordinary person who just put up a post. I didn't write the post, and because I don't support Penelope Beckers, I don't support her, but I'm not going around and telling people don't support she. Everybody can support who they want to support. You telling me I on a leash? What leash you on? What leash? I hope when you put the leash round your neck, you don't go down on your knees. Die the bacchanal. Or they say I like bacchanal, but die the bacchanal. Let me be use a attack dog who under the line and I stink. And my mouth big. I know I don't gaggle. I ain't gaggling nothing more than water. A little salt water for my throat and my sinus. All I want bacchanal, this is bacchanal. And go and tell I talk about a woman. She needs to know how to talk to people because them ain't better than nobody. So don't talk about how I could tell a woman that I's a woman too. How she could tell me that? And right there on the page where everybody could read that nobody ain't telling she don't say those things. Pardon, they like it. Why? Because I say I don't support Penelope Beckers. So it's okay. It's okay for people who support Penelope Beckers to attack people who simply say they don't support her. Let we know what she could do and can't do. And because of that's called she a weak leader. Because of that, Lauren Ezama Lisa get to tell me. As I use attack dog, I tell it again, I saying it. If all they're closing all the fridge, or they're closing the window, or they're closing wherever, load on the radio, come and watch the thing again. This is the bacchanal it is. Good bacchanal, good confusion. I prefer to be a used attack dog on a leash than a closed pen. And I'm not a no leash for no agriculture man and whoever man. Nobody put me out no house. Nobody had to get restraining order for me. Me had to run down nobody to try to beat them at shoes and vomit and drunk and all that. Not me. You all want bacchanal? Well, Miss Lee saying you go get bacchanal. Carry me to court. Carry me to court. Because me I say you do not yet. I just simply say I prefer to be a use attack dog than a clothespin. Me ain't say you do nothing yet. Me ain't say it's you who man put out house. Me never say that. I just talking. So when you go and get your lawyers, make sure you understand. Me then say Laurel Izama, husband put you out. I never said anything. Not me. I don't know nothing about that. I just talking. I just telling you what I prefer to be and how no man in harm me. That's all I say. But all over bacchanal, take bacchanal. So that is the new PNM now. When all of them was cussing Dr. Rowley, and people was cussing Dr. Rowley and saying he's a rapist, he's a pedophile, he arrogant, he's a dictator, he raped a woman, and the father and mother raped, the father raped his mother and he become a rape child and he angry. All them things was said about Dr. Rowley. Ever see Dr. Rowley go on anybody page to cuss them? You hear ever Dr. Rowley went and called out this one name and put on chat this and put on chat? No? Huh? Me I tell you nothing, Miss Lady. Every time I put down something, you're always tagging me. You feel it's the best of this and the best of that. Okay. And all who encouraging her, that is what they want in PNM now. Cuss people, the same people. I hope they never had to ask. This use attack dog to say a good word on behalf of nobody. That's all they support. And I hope so, you know. Because I'll be a militia. I hope so, you know. It have a next one. I just want to know if he's penny panty. Everything you respond to here. Listen to him. Again, I just put up my thing. Let me see if I can read it from. Let me go to the right place and get it. Yes, I like bacchanal and confusion. This is my bacchanal and confusion. To defend myself, yes, bacchanal and confusion. But truth. That's the bacchanal and confusion. Let me just read it here, what I put. Oh gosh, give me a minute, audio. I'm afraid to say what I say, you know. I'm not afraid to say what I say because I say what I say. I mean it. If I come and get different information, well, I get different information and I can revise what I say. Let's see if I find it. Right. So this is what I put. Why do Why do the opposition leader and political leader and her supporters persist in this conversation about arrogance, throwing shade at Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, and then trying to equalize that with saying that this opposition leader and political leader is nice, quiet, and humble? Dr. Rowley, quote-unquote, arrogance led him to win by a landslide in the PNM internal election of 2024, and in 2022, or was it 2023, and the PNM, he took them to 2 electoral victories. He kept TNT out of the hands of the IMF. He kept us alive during COVID-19 years, and the list goes on and on. I said the opposition leader, political leader, admitted that she was in the political wilderness. Ask her who put her there and who took her out. All of them who talking about arrogance, who give them the political life. The issue is not about arrogance versus humility, it is about competence. This is what we are questioning, whether the opposition leader or the political leader, I just put /PL, has the competence to lead the PNM to victory. Her supporters says she has it, and those who don't support her say she does not. While our genuine concerns are based on information and evidence, her supporters, voters, their information is based on love for her, and it is based on emotions. That's what I say. Who else called Penny Panty? Jennifer Frederick, you're emotionally speaking for and about Stuart Young. You believe in him and you think he's the best thing since sliced bread for the arrogance people tolerated for a time, but got fed up of it constantly walking down or talking down to them. The competence, you don't have the competence meter to say who have and don't have measurement. Is based on speculation, which is based on emotion. So you continue and attack to and be an attack dog. You hear the word again? Because all of them join together. We don't join with nobody, and I just talk nothing. An attack dog, eventually you will be going to expire, you will be expired goods. So carry on smartly. Right? That is how they intend to treat with somebody. I'm doing my life right now. And sorry about that. That is how they intend to respond to people. Right? This attack dog. I'll tell you again, because he said it, I'm saying it again. I'm happy to be an attack dog. He should have put an old tired one too. I'm happy to be that. I ain't no clothespin for no man. No man can toss me away. No man can squeeze my head and everything, just think. I'm not into that. I know my place. Me ain't looking for nothing. I good. Why I can't support what I want to support? Wherever in my comment I talk about Stuart Young. Stuart Young is not the political leader of the party. Penelope Becker's Robinson is the political leader. She went unopposed. Stuart Young didn't go up for whatever reason. I have no reason to be promoting Stuart Young. I say I support him as a member of parliament, but like people in here that he win his constituency for the Spin or St. Anne's West. He's my member of parliament. Who I supposed to support? I'm not from Arima. Mrs. Beckers is not the political leader for Arima. Is the political leader of the PNM. If that's what it is, I don't have no issue with that. My only issue, I keep asking again, tell me something so I could come on my show and big she up. I would like to come and say, in 20, you know she will do this. And I will come in here and do it. But all of them tell me humility and talk to the ground. Who am I telling me go here about talk to the ground? All I went and talk to the ground and the ground ain't vote for PNL. So what are going to talk to the ground about now? So Miss Lorelei Lazama, you're brighter than me, you're well spoken, you went convent. I went Triangle Primary and then I went Woodbrook Government Secondary School. Me went convent, me had no accent, I was no senator, I was no this and that. Me is a no, I is a cook. I is a government cook. That's what I am. Right? So this combative way you have about me and telling me things, Miss Lady, you can't tell me nothing that will hurt my feelings. But I know I could tell you things which could make you feel embarrassed, and then people go, oh God, Jenny, why you do that? Then tell her, stop saying and doing anything she's doing. Because I will probably wear the title of a used attack dog. Because I never say a used dog yet. The dog might be old, but the dog still has to go bite your ass. It could be old and still run, you know. I don't see some pot on them looking like if they see They was here saying Moses. But trust me, you ain't want them attacking you. So calling me I use attack dog on a leash. Nobody have me on no leash, darling. Don't mirror what you see on yourself and tell me about it. If there is how you unleash, that is your affair. That is your business. Don't put that on me. So what is about? And nobody, as I say, is saying nothing. But that is the new one. Love PNM. That is love PNM. Me ain't embarrass your opposition leader. Me ain't call she nothing. I see all kind of things will come up as I sister. All kind of things. I say she drunk, she fall on, Jack says so, she vomit on them, no one says. All them kind of things. I ever say that about the opposition leader and political leader in the People's National Movement. All I say that is she's weak. Well, it's better to cuss the woman. But I did cuss the woman because if I say the word weak, and that is embarrassing the woman and dragging she down. So what was when the camera person be sister? All they have a problem. All is starting on the wrong foot and don't study me as one person. My life, if I get 100 people in my life, I just thank God. If I get 10, I thank God. Me and a big papi when I make no like 500 people hang on 2,000. I don't have that kind of ranking. The most people that view my life when I finish and I reach something at 5,000, 6,000. I just thank God for it. Me and a big papi in the media world. I said nobody. What all they studying me for? They get on and say if I have a voice and I can make somebody do what I want. I don't want nobody to do nothing. Them don't want to do. I have a voice and I will talk. My voice has never been stifled. Nobody in the PNM can tell me what to say, when to say, and how to say. Because I'm not inside the PNM like that. I'm not obligated to the PNM like that. I make my contributions. I say things the way I say it. If it hurts some people, they can afford to call me, say XYZ, I don't like what you say. I look at it, I apologize. I have my daily dose of Jenny. Oh God, that's sending people mad. I just talking. If you look in it and you see something that pertains to you, me ain't pertaining nothing to you. And another gentleman from Tanapuna, I won't call his name because he said, but you're attaching yourself to these things too, sir. Don't drink woman, especially woman. Don't drink woman medicine. Let woman and woman deal with the thing. Don't drink woman medicine. And get yourself in thing you knows nothing about. I saw the former Minister of Education. And she said something at the launch of the One Party. I want all you to listen to it.
Who do you see on those videos? Generally, who are the young people? And I'm saying to you as Minister of Education, I've seen many of the files cross my desk, and many of those children who are misbehaving have PNM mothers, PNM grandmothers, PNM fathers. And I'm saying to us that as a party, we have to enter the fight to help them. And as the Women's League, we have a role in helping our PNM mothers parent even better than they are. We have a role in understanding when we have single mothers that they need help.
All right. Before I respond to this, I want to tell people in my life, right? You all may not like the things I just said when I spoke about Mrs. Laurel Izama-Lising. That is quite okay. Some people might even go, Jenny should not do that. That is quite okay. I don't have a problem with that. Right? I am me. And if I've disappointed you all and you all don't want to listen to my life no more, that's quite okay. I told you straight up, me perfect. Where you see with me you get. And I talk truth. I'm not going to tell all you, I could get along with anybody, any race. I love myself as a person of African descent. And I'll always fight for what is African. But at the same time, I ain't supporting nothing with African just for African's sake. And that doesn't make me less African. So the point I'm making is this. I don't lie on nobody, and I've always said, if you disrespect me unjustly, whether it's Indian, it's Chinese, Africans, you know what, I will disrespect you back. And Laurel Izama-Lising has disrespected me more than once. and I will just talk about it and don't say nothing. But this time, I call her name. Because you disrespect me, I'm going to disrespect you back. So what you get is a disrespect, and all who don't like it, I'm sorry. But it is what it is, and I don't regret saying it, and I will say it again anytime she disrespect me again, because I don't disrespect the woman. I don't message her, I don't tag nothing she put. This one call and ball, this, and all of a sudden I like confusion. Just again, because I'm simply saying, I find the opposition leader to be weak, and tell me what she has done. Convince me, I is one person, only want to study me. Right, so this was the former education minister, and all I heard what she said, basically saying that on her desk is a file, and the children you see fighting and things in school, they are PNM mother, PNM father, grandmother. I want to ask the dearly former minister of education a couple of questions. I want to ask her, where is the supported evidence and data to support that statement that you made? That is one. And how long that you know that is PNM, mother and father and grandparents, them children who fighting and getting on in school? How long you know that? How long you know that that is happening? You have been a minister of education for the past 5 years. What did you do? And why you're now finding out about this, and why you know that you're in opposition? You're in opposition, you can't do anything. So what you're telling us, you knew while you was a minister of education, that is PNM, parents, children, who getting on so in school, you have it on your desk, you're out of government now, what are you telling me that for? What did you do when you was in office to treat with that matter? What this has shown, if we are to take your comments seriously, former Minister of Education, Dr. TIng, is that you was incompetent, and it's an indictment against you. For you now in opposition to come to tell me that the children who getting on in school and fighting, who would be seen daily, the mother and father is PNM and the grandmother is PNM. That's an indictment on you. It shows, is you come out and tell me that, you say you have it. You have it on your desk. And what did you do? What did the PNM do as a party, as a government, based on what you say? So that you didn't even know you set up your own self for ridicule, because people will say you're in opposition now, you talking about that, so what you do is a failure. That's what people are going to say, and all the work you may have done in education will go to naught because of that. You seem not to be able to know what to say politically. I saw you, as I was telling somebody, I went to a Women's League convention in Mount Lambert Multipurpose Community Center, and Mrs. Robinson Regis, well, she's the chair of the Women's League, and Dr. TIng would have spoken. And Dr. Gaspi went on to say that the PNM need to empower women, and we women have to be empowered. And I'm listening and saying, but the PNM has always empowered women. Look how much women since under Dr. Eric Eustace Williams' time he had in his cabinet. People like Mrs. Marilyn Gordon, who became the chair of the Women's League, who coming from under the kitchen cabinet, out of that come this food feeding program, school feeding program. We had so much women, Miss Tisha, we had Donald, Muriel McDonough Davidson, we had Muriel Lewis, all them women, them are strong women. And when they had when they have Women's League meeting, them women, is the woman going out to canvas, man never used to canvas. Women all stay in the political space under Dr. Rowley, under Mr. Manning, under Chambers, under Dr. Equilum, under women. So, and then now, the chair, paraphrasing, the chair of the Women's League, Mrs. Camille Robinson, really had to come in and basically school her. School her on what she's talking about. When they break, I kid you not, when they break now to refreshment, whoever people coming on the stairs, Dr. TIng stand up in a corner by herself, like them little children when they get schooled by herself. I don't know if she remember. I went and said, Dr. Gaspi, okay? She said, yeah. I say, that program you have with the social workers and things is a really nice program and thing, everything. I told her that. And then I left her there. She seemed to not know what to say, or it is she not grounded enough in the PNM history to understand what to say and not to say politically. And she's vying for the position of Women's League chairman. How are you going to empower women? Not only was your conversation very discriminatory and prejudicial, because not all African people is PNM. So simply to say, again, unless you have the evidence where they went and say in the report, I a PNM, I just vote for so-and-so, my son is so-and-so. If you have that type of evidence and data, then again it's an indictment on you. And if you don't have that evidence and data for what you're saying, why you say that? Because what you're just simply doing, I'm not saying that the children who fighting is not African people children. I'm not saying that. I've seen it all over. It's African people children. We have a problem. That is not my issue. My issue is that you are saying now, while in opposition, that is PNM children. That's basically what they're saying. So when Kamala and them say PNM Duncy head children, the only Duncy head children is PNM children. Wait, you giving them things to talk. That's what you're doing. And if you talk about that now, you're coming down on this one and you like she, and Dr. Naim Gasky had to like she self, not me had to like she. Because people would say, and if people are honest with themselves, they would say she's very snobbish. She may not be, she may be a next nice lady. She may be a very humble lady, I don't know. But people, they say she cold. She standoffish. She uppity-ish. All this dress and makeup and that's what people talk. The same way people that talk about me and say I loud mouth, as a tag dog, under the white line. People talking about you too, ma'am. And people talking about all about the difference with me and all that. I'm not in public life, nor do I want to be in public life. And especially PNM, hell no. No other party. I prefer which party I am here. I am the outside as a nobody. I am citizen Jennifer Frederick. And me hiding behind no profile, no nothing. Everybody could go on my Jennifer Frederick page, see all I does say. You could go and let me talk the thing, see what I does say. Me have to hide to say nothing because I'm not disrespecting nobody. But again, if you disrespect me, I will disrespect you back, especially if you do it unjustly. And I hope everybody understand where we stand. And I good like that. At the end of the day, it's love, but love don't mean to say that I had to take shit from nobody just to go along, to get along. I am not one of them. I'm going to love you and still tell you you're doing shit. I'm going to love you and still tell you I don't support you. I'm going to love you as an African woman or African man and still say at the end of the day I don't support you. Something is wrong with that. I don't have to support every black man and black woman. I don't have to support every Indian or every Chinese or any Syrian or whatever. I support who I want to support. And I keep telling all that again. It's not everybody in my tribe, You might be of my ethnic group. And I acknowledge that. And I will stand in defense of my ethnic group any day. But it may not be on my tribe. Meaning if you don't share my values, my ethics, my morals, whatever, then it can't be a part of my tribe. So you could be a Syrian and be a part of my tribe once you have those values that I share. You could be an Indian, a Chinese, anybody. Once you share the values I share, you're a part of my tribe. You're not a part of my ethnic group. So let me understand things. I could speak and I could chew gum and speak at the same time. I could like something and be very objective against the same thing. I know some people may not be able to do it, but I have the ability, I could do it. I could be very objective against somebody that I like. Give them all the love, hug up, whatever the case may be, and still turn around and tell you you're on shit and I'm not supporting you. And if you vex with it, that's your business. But if we good, and we're going. People know me as that. So I want to tell people, at the end of the day, the PNM, this executive, it have now, they bring in a lot of the problems they get on the self. It is self-induced. I am not saying that there are people out there writing things, and I can't deny that because I just say what I have to say. And people may take it whatever the way they want to take it, but I know where it comes from. A place of wanting to see the PNM be a strong opposition in the parliament. And with 13, they're already at a disadvantage. So anything I say to the political leader and the opposition leader is to strengthen. And if she said she could take criticism, she said it, so why all you vex with me? If the political leader, the People's National Movement, and the opposition leader say she's afraid criticism, why all you studying what I tell and she talking to she? I'm not talking to all you. And I want her to be strong. I want her to go in there and fight. Me said she had to be loud and getting on. I didn't say that. She could be very soft and that's okay. But I want to know she able and up for the task. I don't know. I might see it when she in parliament and say, So why all the picking the woman fight for? She says she don't mind criticism. I mean hiding to criticize constructively. So all the jumping me for? She asks all to fight on her behalf. If she have an issue with what I saying, anybody could give her my number and she call and we have a conversation. Why see and she want to talk with me, whether me go cuss she, me go bullshit, me go say me want to talk to you. But I will still retain what I'm saying. Until I see differently, I go in with what I see. I can't go with what I don't know. If all you know, tell me. So I go be in the know. In the absence of that me don't know, I go in with what I see. I'm being impressed with what I see. Today she had a press conference. I heard she got a lot of reviews. I didn't get a chance to listen. She answered a lot of questions concerning the whole Maduro situation, the school violence. She doesn't agree and things like that. And that is good. That's what we want you to do. Don't wait till everything pile up, and then go and talk it. We wanted to run after every car. We don't expect you to do that if you feel you have nothing to do. But once it is of national interest, because you have to remember you're working for we. And if we bring something to you that is of national interest to we, you have to talk about it. You can't say, nobody can tell you when to talk. No, you can't be saying them things. Because nobody going to tell you, I went down by Pennywise and one, and the lipstick was expensive. Talk about it for me now. Nobody coming to you with them kind of talk. It's things that affect us as a nation, as a community, as a party will come to you. And once it is something in the interest of that, you have to talk on it. That's why you're there. You're political leader because of that. You're opposition leader because of that. But you started off wrong, and all they don't want to admit that all they started off wrong. All they want to be wrong and strong and vex with people because people have a problem with it. All they start off wrong, just admit that and we move on. That's simple thing. All they want to be in forgiveness and we start in love on you. And all they don't want to admit that the opposition leader, Mrs. Penelope Beckers Robinson, start off on a wrong foot. She start off on a wrong foot when she only bring 6 members who win the seat to caucus to choose opposition leader. That was wrong, because then you're doing exactly what all the accused Dr. Rowley are saying or doing. You start wrong. Just admit it and then we move on. All they want to heal, but all they only want to heal on all their terms alone, nobody else's terms. We want to heal on everybody's terms, but you have to hear everybody, whether they say bad, good, or indifference. But all they don't want that. All they want to push on me, or I supporting Stuart Young. I tell all they're ready for the 100 and more time that I'm a member of parliament, I support him. He's not in the race. He's not in the race for political leader. If he was in the race for political leader, it would be a horse of a different color. Then we all out there. He's not there. Mrs. Penelope Beckers is the political leader. All they come just like the UNC, all they realize all they win over. All they win and still eating up all themselves. Stuart Young not in the run, he's a member of parliament. He's an ordinary member of parliament. And I support him because I'm my member of parliament. I can't go to Mrs. Penelope Beckers when I in my constituency or something. She's not in my constituency. You know she go tell me, go and talk to a member of parliament. So who do I want me to support? And my not supporting Ms. Beckers shouldn't bother all here. Because all I want somebody to show me, she's capable of doing the work. That's all. All they're not able to show me, that's why I have to sit down and wait to see her performance in parliament. In the absence of that, I say I'm not supporting her. Why all I can understand that? Why there is a problem? That I'm making back and I just make some confusion here, but my confusion I just make is true confusion. It's not no he say, she say, them say. It's me and the person say. And I now tell all you what the woman say and how I respond to she. I use a tag dog on a leash and she's a clothespin. If she could say I use a tag dog, well, then I could say she's a clothespin. So she tell me, give me talk, I give she talk. And there it is. Let me just play this. And I want to tell them when they, in the moments of reflection, remember that all of them said this about Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. I didn't see nobody forcing them to say this.
Dr. Rowley, this is not goodbye, but this is a heartfelt thank you.
I want to thank you for giving me the best day of my life.
It is very difficult to tell Dr. Rowley thank you for one thing, because there are so many things I would like to tell him thank you for.
Dr. Rowley would have fulfilled his duties to Trinidad and Tobago. 45 years of service, and I would like to thank him for his steadfastness,
for his love of country,
for the stability and the leadership that he has given to Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you for allowing me to lead without hovering. I truly appreciate your confidence in me.
I recognize that every time he does make a decision, it's in the best interest of Trinidad and Tobago.
And that is what I admire about him. His passion,
His outstanding vision has always guided me to right. I want to thank you most sincerely for what you did to this country during COVID. But most of all, seeing you as a human being.
for looking at this young lady and
Taking a chance on me. He saw something that, I didn't see.
dragging me to be a screamer.
From the sidelines and giving me that opportunity to serve at the highest level.
As an ambassador at the United Nations,
Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago.
And allowing me such close access to learn under his watch. Thank you, Doc, for being that quintessential leader.
also for his love and passion for character,
And to encourage all young people
to be involved in government. Thank you for your faith in our future. Thank you for your boundless faith in our destiny.
thank you personally. Time, the effort, the energy, and the belief that you invested not only in me, but in my other colleagues who came in young and fresh under you 10 years ago.
So to my Honorable Prime Minister, I will miss you. We love you and we wish you all of the best. Thank you.
I want to thank you.
I wonder when they will listen. That brings tears to my, you know why? Some of them same people who say them thing about Dr. Rowley.
Well, good afternoon to everyone.
Some of them who give him growing turn, but he passion under this. They fighting only man now. They calling him out, he arrogant and all kind of thing. They stand up there and they say he passion, he love for CARICOM, for giving them a chance, all that, and some of them there who say that. Here they talking about Dr. Rowley now, boy. And all they want to study me. Who got all the wicked boy? All the real wicked boy. That bring tears to my eye, boy, to know. All they stand up there and all they big up the man. All they wish him this, all this, the best, all that, and some all they fighting tooth and nail now to erase. He is Trini P and talking about he was arrogant and he was this and that and all this, all it was never to come in. Best all of that stay out that video some all here. Because all they say all that now really fighting on the man, but he arrogant and he this and he all kind of thing. Look now. To God be the glory. Let me see all who yes, Papa. Sarah, Ona, Sadie, Kim, Keaton, Nicola, Camille, Yvette, Gail, Gavin, Elizabeth, Winetta, Rosemary, Constance, Judy, Mark, Joycelyn, Bernadine, Gretel, Pearl, Owen, Dr. Lloyd Straker, Trinidad is a real place, Ruthven, Carol, Lystra, Dion, Agnes, Joseph, Jessie, Lynette, Casey, Rhonda, Hayden, Anthony, Alexander, Dandy, Diamond, Trini, Jewels, Brian, Wilma Devines, Anetta, Angela Rodriguez Lacroix, Joy, Anne-Marie, Angela, Neville, Merle, Rosalind and Rosalind, Colin, Jennifer, Phyllis, Glennis, Cheryl, Christopher, Rick, Leno, Michael, Dee Sinclair, Angela, Brenda, Mary DeHare, Danielle, Leanne Lissou, Cecilia Jr., Katia and Raymond Felician, Joycelyn Small White, Hadara Galen, Mary, Carolyn, Francesca, yes, Anton, Emmeline, H.J. Truckin, and Tintin. I ain't see Bolty today. People, this one get me, they could say what they want and they are playing it again for you. And watch the people who talking are playing it again for you. Yes, no. Oh God.
This is not goodbye, but
This is a heartfelt thank you.
I want to thank you for giving me the best day of my life.
It is very difficult to tell Dr. Rowley thank you for one thing because there are so many things I would like to tell him thank you for.
Dr. Rowley would have fulfilled his duties to Trinidad and Tobago, 45 years of service, and I would like to thank him for his steadfastness,
For his love of country.
for the stability and the leadership that he has given Trinidad and Tobago.
thank you for allowing me to lead without hovering. I truly appreciate your confidence in me.
I recognize that every time he does make a decision, it's in the best interest of Trinidad and Tobago.
And that is what I admire about him, his passion.
His outstanding vision has always guided me right.
I want to thank you most sincerely for what you did to this country during COVID.
But most of all, seeing you as a human being.
For looking at this young lady and
Taking a chance on me. He saw something that, I didn't see.
dragging me to Wales River.
From the sidelines and giving me that opportunity to serve at the highest level.
As an ambassador at the United Nations,
Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago.
And allowing me such close access to learn under his watch. Thank you, Doc, for being that quintessential leader.
Also for love, passion for character, and to encourage all young people to be involved in government. Thank you for your faith in our future. Thank you for your boundless faith in our destiny.
thank you personally. Time, the effort, the energy, and the belief that you invested not only in me, but in my other colleagues who came in young and fresh under you 10 years ago.
So to my Honorable Prime Minister, I will miss you, we love you, and we wish you all of the best. Thank you.
I want to thank you.
Some of them stand up with a straight face and give glowing tribute to Dr. King.
Lord Heavenly Father, thank you for this food on this blessed day.
It's not me say. They stand out with a straight face and do that. Big up Dr. Rowley all that, and today, some of them same people, they try and share at Dr. Rowley right through and they want to talk about one love and one team and all that. Where the love for Dr. Rowley, boy? Where the love for Dr. Rowley? Hi, Bolty, I see you. Thanks for being on. Where the love for Dr. Rowley? The man who gave all here so much passion and for country, all kind of thing. And today, some of the same ones who say that there. But you see, things has remained to play. It's not I say it, So those studies me, I just plain what all they say. And to hear some all they talking to this, I don't get it, I don't understand. All the confusing people, all the real confusing people. I love you all people. See you all on Wednesday. God's prayer, I come with something for something new. This is the girl Jen, Sister Jenny, Auntie Jenny. And if you want to get formal mission of a Frederick and another edition, I'll let you talk thing. At the end of the day, it's love with me, but love have boundaries also, and it's respect. And I'll keep saying again, you respect me, I will respect you. You disrespect me unjustly, I will disrespect you back. I will go under the white line and come out very clean. And this attack dog, rah! I go do it. God have a blessed one, I go on.